right.
Welcome back. This is episode 4, and I am Shane.
And I am Brandon.
And welcome to the journey of the wounded masculine. Today we'll be talking about...
We are talking about the importance of platonic relationships in our lives.
Yeah, platonic relationships. And it comes from Plato, right?
Does it?
Yeah, it does.
I don't know.
I use my Google machine to check it
You're
out.
a Googler, man.
I'm a Googler. I liked encyclopedias as a kid too, so...
Yeah. It all makes sense.
It makes sense now.
It makes sense.
I'm a dork.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, we're all weirdos, right? So.
This is true.
So welcome back. Hit the like and subscribe button and help us share this information, this good content that we work on diligently twice a week now. So this will be our second podcast of this week, and we hopefully continue to do that.
Yep. And we'll continue to talk about on this podcast the dynamics between masculine and feminine, man and woman. What's it like to be a man? What do women need from us? What do we need from women?
Sure.
How can we all better meet each other and hold space for each other so we can all be nurtured and grow into our best selves?
And find the balance. Find the balance within yourself. Find the balance within your partner. And then what does it look like when you are partnered up with your spouse or whoever? What does that dynamic look like? And how to navigate that. So,
or even to the topic of today's thing, how do you, if you don't have a partner, what's your connection to the feminine like?
Yeah. Or even two masculines having a friendship.
Yep. Well, then what's even funny is even in our friendship, you're a little more on the masculine side and I'm a little more on the feminine. And I think that's what makes great.
I think you're really balanced though.
No. Like I'm just a guy that's really in touch with my feminine.
Sure. And
now I'm getting more and more in touch with my masculine, so it's getting really nice.
Yeah, that's it. It's
getting super balanced.
Yeah.
Yeah, so today's episode was inspired because what was that? Last weekend, I believe it was.
2 weekends ago, yeah.
2 weekends ago, I had a friend that it was her birthday, and she invited me up to her family's cottage with just her and her friend. So I got to go spend a weekend with two amazing women that are just friends.
Yeah.
And
it's pretty amazing.
It's pretty amazing. I've never done that before in my life. I'm 36 years old, and that's the first time that's ever happened to me. And it was really beautiful. We had lots of time connecting with nature, getting to chat, and play music together. It was really great, like cooking food and things like that. I mean, being a guy living alone at home, I'm kind of like, heat up my food and like eat it out of the pot. And I noticed myself getting into those kinds of things there, and the women are like, no, we got to set the table. And it actually made for a more present and delicious meal because I'm sitting there at the table, so it helped me learn that.
That point you just brought, like, learn what?
Well, that's more of a feminine thing, right? To set the table and make this, without that feminine energy there, I wouldn't have done that myself.
True, but that's a beautiful point you just made, because I've realized that with my relationship with Kelly, is that I am also, like, I used to take all these shortcuts, right? You just do, right, as dudes. Now I want to feel the whole process, and she helps me see that, just like they were letting you see that. Set the table, enjoy it, be more present, take that whole moment in and really enjoy it. Like, I think that's what the feminine's bringing into our masculine, right? Is that be more mindful of the entire the entire situation. Yeah.
Being more open to the finer details and interests, kind of eccentric things in life.
Sure.
It's like, as a man, especially as I've been becoming more masculine.
As a man.
Oh, look at me. Not really. But as I've developed a better relationship with my masculinity, I'm a much more kind of focused person. It's like, well, I got all these things I'm doing. I got this art project. I got this YouTube. And so I'm losing touch with that kind of more feminine aspect of life. And so having women around me, and in my, helps soften me.
Right.
And helps me
soften those edges.
Like we talked about in the last episode.
Yeah.
If you haven't seen episode 3, I suggest you go check it out now.
They all tie together.
Yep. And so yeah, the weekend just really showed me the importance of having close friendships of the opposite sex that you're not dating, you're not in it, that level of an intimate relationship with. And it's something like my whole life, I never really had women friends. I had women acquaintances, but I didn't have women that I had like a deep friendship with. It seemed like every woman I would connect with, I was either trying to have sex with or date or make them into my fantasy partner or whatever.
Sure.
And when we do that, we're really just missing out on so much there. And we really need that feminine woman presence in our life, even if it's not dating or a partnership.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I wanted to kind of circle back on something you said just a second ago, where you said, I'm doing all these things, I'm moving in my art, my creations, stuff like that. Like that masculine energy is a moving energy. It's a motion. It's an energy in motion, right? That masculine. And then you tie the feminine that just embraces the beauty of everything. Like how beautiful can it be? So your art is already a feminine expression, and a masculine role in a balance. So it's interesting you said that I needed to bring that feminine into it. You already kind of were, in my opinion, but you're moving forward. And as a woman, in her essence, and like she's moving forward in her masculine energy to make something happen, but also giving that creative piece of the feminine too, and how it all works together. I love how it intertwines.
Yeah, and this is a beautiful thing is we all have the masculine feminine dynamic within us, but as men we tend to go more towards the masculine side, and having those really feminine women in our lives that just really bring out the beauty in life. It's golden.
Do you have any like examples of your weekend that you could share? Something that really stood out to you that really felt good or even bad? Yeah,
I mean, the biggest thing I would say it was like meal times was really great. The other thing I noticed, the women wanted to go out for a walk. And we're really connected with nature. And for some reason, I'm like, oh, man, it's nice and cozy in this beautiful lodge with a fireplace. Like, I'd rather sit here and play music or something. And
it's cold. It's cold here in Michigan.
It's cold. It's cold. And, but, I was like, well, something in me is like, oh, let's stick together. Let's go for the walk with the ladies. And I'm so glad I did. It grounded me. It made the whole evening much better. It was like a little adventure, hiking through this beautiful land of rolling hills and creeks and things like that. It was really a blessing. The house was on beautiful land. The land was just phenomenal. So one of the nicest chunks of property I've seen in a long time.
So you said that. So you're kind of like saying that the feminine brought you into nature, like she reconnected you to the grounding.
Yep.
Like, because the feminine, Mother Gaia, was that feminine energy, right? That grounding presence. So was the feminine bringing you into the grounding nature walk? That's pretty cool. Huh.
Yeah. Yeah, and I also just really love moments of being physically close with them as well, periodically throughout the weekend.
Sure.
That, it's just nice and physically close. It wasn't sexual. It's just nice to be physically close and have that affection there without it going to sex or needing it to be a partner
or having an agenda.
Or having an agenda at all.
Right.
When it just naturally happens and it's like heartfelt and heart-centered. It's just so nourishing, and when that happens, just feeling the softness of the feminine there, it's just, it's really delightful.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
So in my experience with this subject, it's been a really tough road for me to have female friends that are very authentic in that way. I do have a really good friend, Irene, that I share that with. That she's like a sister to me, and it's never been that way with us. It's always been platonic, and I was able to share things with her. She's able to share. We bounce ideas off of each other. She's actually a person who I referenced when starting this podcast. She said, to talk to you and I about getting this out there. It needs to be heard. And I have that relationship with her, but there's not many women that I have had that ability to have that relationship with. So it's something that I need to work on in my life. I know that because that feminine presence is huge, right? And not just with our intimate partner. Our intimate partner usually dominates that side of us, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it's very easy due to insecurities and things like that when getting into a partnership with someone that any other connections to women, you just kind of, I got this partner now, this is my focus, and I find that's really unhealthy.
But what creates it?
Well, insecurity for one.
Yeah.
I don't want to make my partner feel insecure, so I'm just going to put all my focus on her. But that really cuts us off from our own support system. And that whole act right there is actually abandoning ourselves.
It is, isn't it?
It is. That's the abandonment wound at its core. I've learned through healing my own abandonment wound, all the times I felt abandoned, really as an adult, is because I abandoned myself. Mm-hmm. I abandoned myself to fit this person's world and this person's agenda. And then when they left me, screw you. You're the one that left me. But really, I was the one that left myself to begin with.
That's huge.
And it's a huge, huge piece to sit with.
Wow.
I mean, that abandonment wound runs deep to the core.
I never thought about it like that before. That's cool. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
We are abandoning ourselves in those moments where we conform to what the other person's ideology of us will be. Yeah.
As soon as we drop out of our own authenticity of I feel like, I feel this certain way, but, I don't want to make that person feel insecure, or I don't want to hurt their feelings, so I'm going to hold back how I truly feel.
Right.
That's abandonment.
And not stepping into your own power by setting up healthy boundaries. Healthy boundaries are going to be uncomfortable for the people who we're setting them against.
Mm-hmm.
But they're really great for us because we're stepping into our own power.
Yeah. Well, they're also uncomfortable for us. And
that's true.
I mean, what's great though is if you have loose boundaries with people and you go start setting boundaries, you're going to find people are just going to leave your life. They're like, I don't like this. He's setting boundaries. I don't want to be around that guy anymore.
But that's okay.
But that's okay because they never really deeply cared anyways.
And you don't need them in your life.
No.
Not that you don't love them. You can love them from afar. But if they don't fit that, if they can't respect your boundaries as a man or as a human,
mm-hmm.
female even, then you don't need them in your life. There's a reason.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm finding in my own personal life of just really finding deep love for everyone, even my worst enemies that I've had, because everyone is in our lives for a purpose and a reason. And some of those people are there to teach you how to set boundaries for yourself to gain your personal power. And without them challenging that, we wouldn't have that lesson.
Like the mirrors.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mirroring yourself to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We'll get to the feminine perspective here soon, but I feel like we still have some more stuff to unfold here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this all comes back to, for us to be really supported as people, we need a web of support, a net, so to say. So if one of those things seem to leave your life, let's say you have 5 deep relationships and one of them happens to have to go around the world to work on something they're passionate about, or whatever, and that person's not going to be in your life anymore. It's like, oh yeah, it's a sad moment, and you'll miss that person's presence in your life, but at the same time, you're also still supported. And so it doesn't like wound you to the core as bad. Now it's just sad. And so having that really solid web of support around us through friendships and workmates and lovers and all that, it's really important.
Yeah, that's true. Can I ask, I mean, you can say no, but I want to ask you this question, and you don't have to answer it right away. But what I noticed that you called me after that weekend, and you were just different. You're like vibrating different. Your like energy's really high. But what I wanted to ask you is, could you kind of tell us, like tell them about how you were feeling before that weekend? Because it was a transformational weekend for you. And you don't have to answer that if you want to. But I just was curious how you might want to answer that if you could.
Yeah, it was a transformational weekend for me, just because, I mean, one of the women that I went on that with, like, I did have a pretty deep crush on for some time. And after a couple of years, I mean, I'm so grateful for her in my life, because she has helped me just work through all of this deep attachment to like the partnership. Because like for me, the pattern my whole life was, oh, any woman I have any kind of connection with, oh, how do I turn them into my partner, or how do I have sex with them, or how do I make this into something?
Sure.
And she's really taught me to just let it be. And through that whole thing, we've developed a beautiful friendship.
Yeah.
And I feel like she's like one of the first women I've had a really good friendship with, and I'm so grateful for her.
And you had said something too, that, you know, you truly feel like an unconditional love that she has for you. She just loves you the way you are.
Yeah. There's a mutual unconditional love.
And that's a platonic relationship that has unconditional love in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the normal pattern is, oh, you feel that unconditional love. It's like, oh, now it's, we go in the spiritual perspective, oh, it's my twin flame. Oh, it's all this, it's all that.
Yeah.
We put all these labels and all these things. Of, oh, this is a person I'm going to be with for the rest of my life. And you get caught in this fantasy, and eventually, you know, like, that's not it. Like, there's all kinds of loving relationships that come into our lives, and the more we can just accept each relationship as it comes in, honor the love for what it is, the more nourished we are. How many amazing women friendships did I ruin because I tried to push it into something it wasn't meant to be?
Yeah, me too, man. Yeah, I did too.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, this really goes both ways for men and women. I've seen women do the same thing. Yeah. Like, women are going through the same struggles of, you know, we've been really sold this fantasy that our true happiness lies in a partner. And my whole life has just been like over and over again, like, nope, you're going back to being alone. You've got to find how to support yourself and how to feel fulfilled without that. And what's great is once you're there, now you're full. And now you don't need it.
Well, I think we're trying to plug in, and it's just my own experience. I think I was trying to plug in those times in my life that I felt love from a female, from a woman that I was dating, or whoever it may be. And then when that leaves your life, you have that hole that love used to be. And then I find myself trying to plug it with somebody else. Or I immediately go out and start dating somebody else just to fill that void. And it's just that circle, that constant circle that never is fulfilling. But the reality, what happened, how I healed, or at least, you know, that part of my heart, is that when that person left my life and I took that love with them, I started loving myself in that space that I needed love. And so instead of filling it with outside sources, Shane, I love you. I love that part of you that needs that, you know, that concept where I just self-love myself. And as I've been healing those things inside of myself, then we seem to attract the love. Like you said in the last episode, you had said that when you stop searching for something, that's when it comes.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's always the opposites of what we think. You know, the less we seek, the more it comes to us.
Yeah.
Like,
you know, once you really find it in yourself within, that's when it can come to you externally.
sure.
You know, just yesterday I had a really, really deep, powerful healing experience, and I don't want to go too deep into it today because it's deep and I'm still processing it.
Yeah.
But all in all, I ended up going deep into my own core wounds with my mother and the abandonment, and really felt this deep healing in my own relationship to the feminine within me. You know, and it just felt really beautiful. I had this experience of really feeling that love from the feminine just in me.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't need a woman here next to me giving it to me.
Right.
It's like, oh, I feel held, I feel supported, I feel that feminine softness here holding me, and the juiciness of it. You know, it's just really beautiful and really amazing, and I'm excited to see how that healing really starts to bring in just more feminine presence in my life, because I've been, one of my really deep wounds was just this like feeling not supported by the feminine for most of my life.
Yeah, you brought that up a few times in
Yeah,
conversation.
just not having that feminine support. I didn't have it from my mother growing up, and so then it was this pattern of seeking for it all the time, but then being abandoned over and over again, and abandoning myself for people that didn't deserve my love.
Sure.
And now I really feel that healing inside.
You didn't need it externally.
And I didn't need it externally like I always thought I did. I mean, I remember there's conversations I had with you before, like, dude, I just need a woman to like love and hold me. But actually the funny thing is part of this healing is I do have women in my life holding me and loving me.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't what I thought it was going to be. It wasn't partner holding me and loving me. It's just friends.
Yeah.
Platonic relationships.
But they're deeper than friends, you know. They're you know, you have a deep love for them too, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and genuine, and they genuinely love you back, which is awesome.
Well, and that's what you really need.
Yeah.
You know, that's what we all need. We our closest friendships should be the people that love us as we are, that can accept who we are, shadow and all.
That's your tight circle.
Yep, that's the tight circle of people. It's like, yeah, there's acquaintances, there's all those kind of things, but I've learned, you know, I only want to really focus my energy where it really matters. As life becomes busier and busier, it's like, well, there's only so much time in a day.
Yeah. And at the end of your life, like if you're on your deathbed and you're 100 years old or whatever, what's going to be important in those times? That small circle of all friends that are still there are your loved ones. Other than that, it doesn't matter. Like what we did for work, or how, you know, what we did as an athlete, and you know, all that stuff really is important, but not as important as our true intimacy with our friends and our family.
Yep.
You know, who we choose to be family. It doesn't even need to be blood relatives to be family.
Mm-hmm.
There's just people like, you're my family.
Yeah.
That's the way.
Yeah, I believe there's a difference between your blood family and chosen family.
Yeah.
And my own family, you know, there's a lot of wounds there, and it's something I've had to kind of walk away from and set boundaries, and I've had to go out there and find my chosen family.
Yeah. Absolutely. Or they found you.
Or we're finding each other.
That's right.
And I'm excited to see who else comes along. Like, I'm sure someone watching this video sometime is going to be another great friend. And I'm really excited to see how that opens up.
Some allies. We
all need allies.
We do. And you know, that's something that's important with this channel is the collaboration, like you spoke of last time.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, you know, we want other people to join the channel. We want people, artists, and people who, you know, really have some heart-centered ideas to come and join us.
Yeah. Heart-centered, grounded people.
Yep.
Please come. We want you. We love you. We need you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Do we got anything else?
Feminine perspective.
Feminine perspective.
Yeah.
Let's hear.
Let's see it here real quick. All right. So this comes again from the feminine perspective from Kelly here. A lot of women who are in a vulnerable place because of a failed relationship with a person of the opposite sex can tend to gravitate toward a friend of the opposite sex for understanding of what their ex-partner was thinking, of what their ex-partner was doing. Most women want an understanding of how the male brain works and their thought process on things so that they can be better in a relationship. That's why this podcast is so great for women and men. Having that platonic relationship with the opposite sex can be tricky if there aren't personal boundaries in place, because if there are any kind of attractions, whether it's physical or emotional, then at the end of the day, it's not really platonic, is it? Even if it's only one-sided, that friendship will eventually end sour, because someone will end up getting hurt or be tired of hearing about the boyfriend. Jealousy will arise at some point in time.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good perspective.
This is a very good perspective, and I could see, like, I kind of went through that whole dynamic with my friend that we developed into a nice, healthy, platonic relationship.
Mm-hmm.
I think to actually get to that point, you have to learn to accept how things are. And
what do you mean? To accept how things are.
To accept that, yes, I emotionally care for this person and I want them in that way, but to accept that that's just not in the cards. You know, to accept that there's a larger plan involved here that we're not in control of.
That's good point.
We're just playing our parts in the greater scheme of things. And some people are coming to our lives for a certain purpose, and some people come into our lives for other purposes.
Sure.
And I think this is one of the dangers and why it's so hard to build platonic relationships, because typically one side, and I've seen this play out my whole life, one side of that friendship gets feelings, and now the person is like jealous or starts disliking the other person because they're not fitting into what they want. You know, true attraction is mutual.
Sure.
And
instantaneous.
I'm not for sure on that quite yet. We'll see.
That's fair.
Yeah. I'm not 100% certain, but
yeah,
I'll see as I grow more and more.
Yeah, that's awesome. You know, that's the one thing. It's the one-sidedness of that really sprang true, because I read something before that every friendship has some level of attraction to each other, no matter what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing that, I'll continue that thought. And that's why it's been really difficult for me, because, you know, I used to try to fill those voids inside of myself. Oh, this person talks to me and they have this and we have this in common, and they're my friend, which is a female. Well, they can fill that void. They can fill that space in my heart that I don't love myself enough for. But I feel like this space in my life now is the first time that I am very open to having those platonic relationships, because I don't need them to fill any voids in me. I can truly have an authentic friendship with them and not have that turn into a need.
Mm-hmm.
You know, does that make sense?
Yeah.
But I think that maybe that's what women do and we do, is we're not loving ourselves fully to where we fully accept ourselves. And hey, I love Shane. Now Shane can have real true friendships with another female who's healed too. Because if they're not truly healed, and we're always healing, right?
Mm-hmm.
But those big parts of ourselves that haven't been healed, we want to fill those voids with each other. Oh, he's this and he's that. Oh, that's perfect. He'll fill that void in me. Well, I think into your case, when you went up to that weekend, you know, you have two women that don't need that either necessarily, and they feel really good and comfortable with themselves, and you can have a platonic relationship with them. Mm-hmm. I think that's the only way it really works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's the only way you can really have the platonic. If we're always needing something from someone else, it's like that's where all that icky energy comes from.
Yeah. I want to bring up something that's kind of a little hot button topic. So may have to edit this portion out. I'm not sure yet.
Let's see.
So, I was having a conversation and I just asked the question, like, is that why a lot of women really are gravitated toward having a gay friend, a gay man? Because they represent a masculine that isn't threatening to them, because they're not they don't have anything to worry about sexually,
Mm-hmm.
and they feel comfortable. Like, I've heard a lot of women, I've experienced it where they just really enjoy going to like gay bars around gay men because they can be themselves and have fun dancing and enjoy that. Where the man isn't threatening. Yeah, he's a masculine and he just has a different sexual preference, and that's fine. But at the same time, they can truly be themselves, or let themselves come out of their shells.
Mm-hmm.
To where you go to a hetero bar, right? And there's all these sexual like energies and these like, oh, I'm the man, I'm going to do this and that. And where women have to kind of close themselves down or be in their own masculine a bit.
And be really protective of themselves.
Be really protective. So I think it's easier for a woman to gravitate toward a gay man to be friends with. And then if you were to watch that dynamic, it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're just enjoying each other's presence and they're just being themselves. And I just really like that. And I guess it's not a hot topic, hot topic.
I don't see it as too hot.
Yeah, I just want to be respectful in the way that I approach that. So,
But I think that really just shows how much we need grounded men.
Right.
In this world, to a real man in his masculinity, a woman's going to feel safe around.
Right.
That's what being masculine is about.
Right. And it doesn't necessarily mean a preference of your sexuality either.
No.
A grounded gay man, that same thing in their relationships, the same kind of things, and struggle with the balance of that too. So, yeah, I think that's an interesting dynamic because it's not a threatening relationship to where, us as, yeah. That makes sense?
It does.
Okay.
It does. And I think really developing platonic relationships, it's a pretty new thing. I always heard my parents talk about, or my mom about, a guy and a woman can't be friends without there being sex or an attraction, or it's like the old days. It's like guys and women are separate,
right?
And because that was the way people believed, and I think that's what has actually caused this separation in why the masculine and feminine are so out of balance, because we've been relying on a connection on just a partner,
right?
And the truth is, our partner is just a single individual that has their own problems and their own things, and they can't give us everything.
They can't always show up for you in that way.
Yeah. It's not possible. So we have to learn, how do we face these? How do we face that? Oh, here's a woman I vibe with. And how do we face and move through the challenges of the attraction and all of that to lead into the platonic friendship?
Do you think that's what creates a lot of cheating? Because,
yeah, most definitely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was thinking that too. I was like, because we're not being fed these other feminine energies, or a woman not being fed the nice masculine energies of friendships that they have to only have in their partner. But deep down, you desire that.
Yeah, they still are hungry for other dynamics. Yeah. And then since we're so attached to getting that dynamic through sexual relationship or a partnership, like, well, there you go off having sex with somebody else.
Right. To fulfill a need, and then you feel shitty afterwards.
Yeah.
Like, it didn't. That wasn't what you were looking for. What you were looking for is just a companionship. Like, hey, have the opposite sex be a friend, and not have that sexual dynamic to it. It can be healthy. Like a lot of that, the easiest ways to do that, I think, are if you are in an intimate relationship, befriending your intimate partner's friends, like being friends with them and having. That doesn't mean you're going off on coffee dates or anything like that. That just means you're having that relationship with them. So there are boundaries though when you are in an intimate relationship. How do you feel about that? Like if you're in a real intimate relationship, would you be taking off with two girlfriends at a place? Okay.
I would. Like, I would have to have because, I mean, this is one thing that came up for me with going up there that weekend is I had to choose between spending a weekend with someone that I was intimate with but entered into gray space, between that or go spend a weekend with two women that I know nothing like that's going to happen. And I felt like my soul needed that.
Right.
And so I chose that because that's authentically what I needed in the moment. And we have to stay true to our own authenticities. And if our soul is craving just a platonic weekend away with two women, and we have a partner that triggers their insecurities, we have to have a conversation about it.
Yeah.
And you got to explain, like, I feel like I need to do this. Like, I'm not going there for that. I need more support in my life than just you. And I still love you. And, you know, I'm a true believer in monogamous relationships. You know, I only want one sexual partner at a time.
Yeah.
But we still need that feminine support, even if you have a partner. I mean, having those other women in your life is going to make your partnership better.
True. But it takes a very secure woman to allow you to do that. But they could go along with you too. You know, it doesn't have to just be them.
Yeah. Well, but this all takes it back to the idea of, okay, when you're a grounded man, and you're like truly grounded in yourself, then you're going to attract that grounded woman who's solid and grounded in herself. She don't have insecurities like that no more.
Yeah.
Like, when there's true unconditional love there, that is unconditional. The insecurities, all that crap, it doesn't exist.
I get what you're saying, but I'll be honest. I don't know that I can handle that right now. I probably need to do some more work with that.
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine myself going, oh yeah, Kelly, you know, let's go hang off with two of your guy friends for the weekend. I'm not sure I could handle that right now at this point in my life. You know,
Mm-hmm.
just a revelation that I need to do some more work. I mean, if I really trusted those two guys and I really felt...
Actually, it has nothing to do with the two guys. It has more to do with your trust in the partnership. When you really... And again, trust takes time to build.
Sure.
It's like... I've noticed, like, early on in relationships, like, little jealousy things can come here and there. And it's just like, you got to kind of just watch it, not control. You know, don't act on jealousy.
Yeah.
Like, acting on jealousy is only perpetuating that energy. And so if I see myself jealous, it's like, well, use it as a reminder to, nope, I'm not taking action from that behavior, from that mental process.
Mm-hmm.
And instead, I'm going to practice being okay, not having to be in control, and trusting that, you know, things are going to work out.
Yeah, I'm not there, man. Not yet.
I think I'm getting closer and closer to that. You know, we'll see. I'm sure I have plenty of challenges. I mean, it's a constant process of growth. And
you're right, though, that it's a programming, like, you know, from our past, like, to have those kind of friendships. And I mean, it's kind of an extreme example, right? So you were in a gray space, you said. Me being in a relationship, I don't know if I could do that right now. And I don't know where I'm at with that, is what I'm saying. And it would take a lot. It does take a lot of trust to trust that. And I do trust her to do that if she wanted to. I don't know if that's healthy enough. I don't know if that's a healthy option if that was to come up. But, yeah.
Well, luckily for you, life hasn't brought that situation, you know, so
yeah, but you got to be careful what you
life brings you what you're ready for.
Right.
You know, so when you're ready to, like, face that and cross that,
Yeah.
then the opportunity will come.
Yeah.
The question is like, in each moment, are we being authentic to ourselves and following what our soul and our spirit needs for our growth?
True, but a part of that growth for myself would be, I would want to include my intimate partner in that as well. You know what I mean? If I'm really in a relationship, then I feel like I wouldn't want to have that experience outside of that necessarily. And not out of my own insecurity, but it's like when I'm really tied and I really have that sacred relationship, I think I want to experience those things with her. as well. Yeah, two girlfriends that are truly my friends, not girlfriends, but you know what I mean. With her as well, and that dynamic, I think that would fulfill me more than putting myself, maybe in that situation to where I could create a mistrust in my relationship. I mean, that's deep, I know.
Oh, it's deep. I mean, this topic has ended up going way deeper than I anticipated it to.
Yeah, we've opened up a big can of worms.
Wow, this goes deep. This goes so deep.
We might get some hate mail on this one. So,
like, man, wow. Like, I just had a great kind of nourishing week at it. It goes into all this. Like, wow.
Sorry, brother.
Oh,
we never know what's going to happen.
Never know what's going to happen.
Yeah. So
yeah. I mean, I think we hit a lot of good points today.
Yeah.
I think this topic could likely be discussed more
I
further
think we need
down.
to circle back down.
Yeah, let's let this conversation simmer.
Here's a nice idea. What if we actually, down the road, brought a couple women into the conversation based on this? Because you and I differ quite a bit with this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I totally understand where you're coming from, but I know I'm not in that space yet to feel that. But it'd be nice to be able to bring the feminine perspective on set to be able to really talk about it deeper.
Yeah, I think that would be fun to do sometime.
Let's see what the audience thinks about it too.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Anything else?
I think we have a lot to chew on this one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, lots to chew on. It'll be interesting to see what's inspired in this next week for our next
we have no idea
session.
No idea yet.
Yeah, this is what's fun is every week we're just going off, well, what happened in our lives this week?
That's relevant.
Well, that's relevant. Let's talk about that. And we have no shortage of topics.
No.
There's so much going on. It's blowing me away.
Yeah. Heck yeah, in my own life too.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
So yeah. So if you made it this far, again,
like and subscribe.
Comment. I want to hear your comments. Also, don't forget we started a Facebook group called Journey of the Wounded Masculine.
Yep. And the link will be in the description below.
Yep. Find that link, click on it, join the discussion,
and let's talk about this topic. This is huge. And Brandon and I are. We had different views, or not different, but I understood your views. But
well, I think this is one thing that's really great about us talking like this is we do have different views.
Right.
We're not. I mean, even just after our first our first episode or whatever, like we're on the phone talking about it, and it's like, well, we're bumping heads. Like, well, I want it. You're more structured. Like, got your notebook, and I'm like, no, man, we just need to like free flow and let it happen, man.
Right.
And I think where we found the middle ground is like, oh, you do you, I do me.
Right.
Like,
and it works.
Yeah. Like, duh.
And we haven't bumped heads since.
No.
No. Yeah.
No. It's great.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
And it feels really good to me to be able to bump heads, express how I'm feeling about a situation and like what I'm wanting.
Right.
And you can do the same. We both hear each other.
Yeah.
And it's like our bumping heads wasn't even really like bumping heads. It's just like a conversation.
There's friction, but it wasn't that bad.
Yeah.
Like we felt this friction between us, but we were like, okay, and then we both had that realization on the phone that, let's just let ourselves be ourselves. I help with that structure part, you help with the free flow, and you're rubbing off on me, I'm rubbing off on you. There's just a really good an energy exchange.
Yeah, and this couldn't happen without either of us.
Right, absolutely.
So so that's that.
That's it. Thanks for joining us.
That is it. Thank you. We love you.
We do.
And I guess we will see you next time.
See you next time.